with that as well. And again, when we talk about impact fees, and probably the least most advantageous individual that's going to take advantage of them under this is probably going to be the home builder or the actual homeowner that's having a home built. It is part of a much bigger piece of, again, anything that we can do to help stimulate business. If it helps one builder in Washougal or two builders in Washougal out of 10, 12, 20, that's a piece of it helps somebody versus doing nothing. If we're looking at businesses that have a $100,000 impact fee just for traffic for building a new retail store, it could have a very large impact if it's collected up front versus on the back end of it. So again, does it make a huge impact, to everybody out there right up front? I don't think it does, and never intended to do that. If we can look at system development charges and that type of stuff, I certainly want to make sure that we uncover all of those things that, again, makes us one of the healthiest, most friendly places in order to stimulate that stuff. It certainly can't, as long as we close the loopholes and the instances where we could get caught and not paid and reduce those as much as we can, it certainly doesn't leave anything behind. There may still be folks who pay that up front. That's wonderful. They have the ability to do it. God bless them. But for those that it makes a difference in there, I think we want to be able to assist those folks.
Mayor Gard, Mr. Bomar has a question as well.
Sorry, I forgot to. Does the impact fee lock in, the rate actually lock in at the building permit still?
Yes,
Yeah.
especially for 1 year.
Because I don't expect for Washougal for them to change dramatically, but that's a huge issue for builders, is
Right.
there's the risk assessment.
Right.
If you look at how much impact fees have increased the last 5 years, that's a challenge for folks. So that might be an added bonus that might entice some more
Right.
folks to participate in the program.
And
Just
that
have
is in the
certainty.
agreement, be invested.
Rod?
It's interesting that we're talking about how do we spur growth, and yet a couple of meetings ago, we were sitting here trying to figure out how we're going to attain capacity at the sewer treatment plant and all of the large dollar numbers that we were going to have to come up with to increase the expansion of the plant. Now we're sitting here trying to increase more growth, which,
Well, I think
why are we trying to encourage growth if
we're
we're
trying to encourage
struggle?
growth for economic development for, really, it's the economic development of ongoing city revenue from retail sales tax. You have to have the homes there to support the commercial, for the commercial to come. And then you want to entice industrial because that's where people in your community can work. So it's an economic development tool for us as a city.
Yeah, we really have to diversify our income in the city so we're not so dependent on property taxes. I mean, that's the key, and that's why why this is essential.
Well, I know we're spending a lot of time on this, but what I'm asking for, I'm just asking for you to, I'm not asking for a decision next Monday night. I'm asking you to set a public hearing. So I just keep that in mind, and I really would encourage everyone to come talk to me. Let's think this through. We'll have another work session before then, I believe, and we can talk about it again where everyone's had some time to
additional time.
think about it. I did want to bring two things up, though. I was looking at a Senate bill, a House Bill 3067. Now, this does not apply to us that I know of, but they're looking at changing where they mandate a delayed payment program for impact fees in King and Snohomish counties. So it's going to mandate that, it's mandating that they come up with, it doesn't say what the thing has to be. But there was a couple things for cons, and I'm still going to look into these. It said Pierce County tried this a few years ago, and the program was a significant failure. So Mike, if you know anything about that, I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, Pierce was one of the first ones to do it. They had some bad, they didn't have the right financial guarantees in place, and
Okay.
so they had issues there. Kitsap County's been doing it for the last about decade, and they've had a really successful program with it. So they're,
Right.
Pierce, the way they had it is the example of what not to do if you're gonna do this. Kitsap is the way to do it from a village perspective.
And you know, the agreement that's written up here is almost, well, no, I'm sorry, it's from the center, with a little bit of
The
Kitsap
center
in there.
took something from Kitsap too, so it sounds like
Yeah.
pretty close.
So, and you'll notice that Kitsap County, the payment's due prior to occupancy inspection. The other thing, which I'm gonna ask our city attorney about, and I can't believe this to be true if other jurisdictions are doing it, but it said the Pierce County prosecutor thought the liens were unconstitutional lending of the county's credit. But anyway, I don't know that to be true. I can't imagine that not have been appealed with all these other jurisdictions. So I'll be looking at it. So unless you want to talk to me more about it, because I don't want to take up more time than was allotted to me.
I had just one other quick question for Mike. We're talking about vesting these permit fee or the rates for 1 year. Is that adequate for a commercial or an industrial project?
Well, vesting's, vesting's kind of a legal term about it, so it's not, for locking in the rates.
Yeah, that's what we mean, yeah.
Yeah, our state association has encouraged 18 months in the current building cycle as a more appropriate timeline, just from the building cycle versus inventory, how long it's taking to sell something. I don't know on the commercial side how that would apply, but in general, I mean, if you're looking at the timeline of a project, certainly 12 months for a house would be adequate time to lock in a fee. But, you know, some commercial projects could be large and have very long timelines where that might not be adequate. So.
Could you look into that a little bit for me? Thank you.
I do want to remind you, in the council memorandum, a mortgage lender indicated that there are great incentives for this deferral program for commercial.
Yes.
Great incentives, so. So all I'm asking for is for you to authorize setting a public hearing. Okay, so, oh,
Let's do it.
okay. So the other thing is, again, the code changes for a deferral program. We currently have, BEF, Business Enhancement Factor. We currently have this program. Again, it only relates to downtown, and it's a reduction of traffic impact fees. And all this will do will be to expand it citywide to other commercial uses, and that they could be, don't have to be in downtown. So I'm asking you to
Generate-
set a public hearing on that too.
But they generate the same benefits.
Yes, yes. So in other words, you'll be changing the code to change it to apply citywide, and then you'll be amending the current technical document. Again, I'm asking you to set public hearing, not to take action on these. And I have nothing else unless the mayor instructs me to.
At the moment, no.
I know.
Okay, Jim, you got 5 minutes.
I am.
I was gonna ask Joanne one quick question, as far as level of service. We have a D level of service, is that correct?
Yes.
For transportation impact? And I believe that that is inherently a growth level.
Well, what it is if a development came in
Right.
and they were going to impact, they were required to do impact,
Right.
traffic studies.
Yeah.
If it was determined by a traffic engineer that they were gonna impact this intersection so significantly, a condition of approval would be that they make these improvements.